I was on the other line. I haven't learned how to switch over.
No, it's okay. I don't mind people hanging up on me and sending me the voicemail. I don't have a problem with that.
Oh
I feel
man.
like doing that to people all the time too. I'm not a professional.
Okay.
Like some people. All right, what am I interrupting?
Oh, nothing. I'm just getting in from getting a haircut. My elementary school is having a reunion. I got out there in '66, so it's gonna be some old time school folks there. Cause my reunion for high school is this year, and it's 50. Now that was almost 4 years before. No, six 6 years before. So it's our 56-year meeting.
I can tell you for a fact that I know for a fact that none of my people that I grew up with knows how to get in touch with me or will even bother to get in touch with me to talk to me about some reunion.
Yeah, I got and it was one of those Facebook groups. You know how they have different groups of different
Okay,
people,
okay.
and that's how I got announced. In fact, I put something on there about how I left this science project when I left high school. That was a universe, and this one lady said, "I remember."
See, that's all right though. That
Yeah,
is
that's
all
all
right.
right. I said at least I left something there because the school is closed, and we're having it in the in the playground where we used to play. Had a nice big playground. At least it was when we were small. I guess now it may not be as big as it was when we were smaller. But
Well, I just got word, and somebody says they're going to send me the information they have on this, that the idiots dealing with that school, where the guy went in and did all the shooting,
yes,
well, it turns out that that place was shut down, that there was no school in session that day. I
wait
am
a minute.
waiting to find out the details about that because, as Keith Sweat said, something just ain't right.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on now.
Exactly.
I'm I happen to be sitting in a dealership because I was using the restroom and I'm looking at the TV. It was on TV on every channel. On every channel, they were asking questions as if the school was still open. Even I thought even the principal was there talking of the school
But see,
or the
that's
security
the
of the
thing.
school.
They're saying that the day before the shooting, they were actually having a drill where they actually had kids there going through a drill of practicing that somebody got shot the day before. That's
Oh
the
no,
information I'm getting now, and you had best believe I was gonna be checking that out.
that's pathetic. Why are they? Because what 17 kids,
You
eight to
know how
17 kids, and
19,
four adults.
19. But you know how they do the false flag thing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
So let me run this by you, and then we're gonna get into the conversation because you're at a dealership. So let me run this by you, and we're gonna talk about that dealership thing in a minute, okay?
Okay, yeah, I was just there because I had to use the restroom. I was walking my car. They was putting the radio in it. I needed a radio,
Well,
so
do
I
me a
was
favor.
walking.
Go to the manager and tell him you're interested in getting another automobile.
Oh, at the
And
dealership.
just get an offer,
Okay.
okay? And then we'll tell you how to take care of that offer with the Federal Reserve. Now, before we ain't gonna talk about that right now. We'll talk about that after you accomplish it, because
Okay.
that's the important part. My brother, I'm sitting up here with that school situation. I did a video the day after it happened. I didn't watch any news until the next day. And then I did a video telling people of how I can't watch junk like that. And I said, however, the report that I heard said yesterday that the kid ran into a public safety officer, which is nothing but an off-duty police officer. So if he ran into this off-duty police officer who was there at the school operating as a safety officer, I said, how come we didn't hear nothing else about him? How come he didn't tackle the guy? How come, what's going on? How come he didn't shoot the guy? What happened? I said, that's what I'm waiting to hear about. Well, guess what? 2 days ago, they announced that there was no safety officer, that he wasn't at the school. Say what? What do you mean he wasn't at the school? Safety officers are supposed to be there the entire time school is in session.
Yes.
Okay, so where was he? But nobody is talking about that.
It's really ridiculous. It's getting people dandruff up for nothing if that's true. But to sit there and say 18 killed and 2 teachers or something like that is
19
oh my
plus
God.
2. And that's why I said we knew that the safety officer that they said, oh, by the way, you know the gunman dropped one of his AR-15s because he had 2 AR-15s. I don't know why he's got 2 AR-15s. You only need one and a bunch of clips. So why you got 2 AR-15s? Well,
Mm.
anyway, said he dropped one next to the truck. Well, if he ran into a safety officer, he dropped one next to the truck. How come the idiot didn't pick it up and engage the suspect? That was what my question was the day before.
I
O-
tell you,
Only
it's
to find out that it was a lie. Now, I know the media doesn't lie to us.
please.
Well,
Where you know that
I
from?
know for a fact the media would never lie to us. Okay? I don't know what's wrong with y'all. They would never ever tell us a lie. The media
They
will
might they
always
might
tell us
twist
the
the truth.
truth.
They may twist the truth though.
Well, they can twist it, but they will always tell the truth while they're twisting. And that's my problem. Because I
Okay.
told people since I was a kid, when we were watching the news, my mother would always teach us, it's not what they say, it's what they don't say is what you pay attention to. And we didn't get her right away, but I got her.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's get to this money thing. This is what I'm going to make a suggestion to you. You know
Okay.
how I have been feeding you the information based upon where I have been, where I am, and like I said, I'm on a I'm a one-track minded person. You can't get out of the system, they ain't gonna let you, or they're gonna make it way too hard to where it ain't worth it. So I tell people, why try to get out of the matrix? Why not operate within the matrix? They created it for us to begin with. They didn't create it to hurt us. They created it to keep us busy. They created it so that we could manipulate it. You saw in the Matrix how Keanu Reeves, Neo, got to bend and shift and manipulate time and space within the Matrix and avoid bullets. Well, we get to do that with paperwork. We get to do that with understanding of the statutes. They created the Matrix so that we could manipulate it. Well, I want the money. I want the value that comes with the so-called money. I know the money ain't real. Let me say that again because sometimes people don't hear me clearly. I know the money ain't real. I know monopoly money has more value than that junk. However, in the Matrix, that money is real. Just like in a game of Monopoly, that junk is real. It's all about perspective. So what I need to find out, because I know there's another name for it. You see, when you forgive somebody their debts and you do a cancellation of debts, you automatically get the credit for that forgiveness. It's not called tax credits unless you are applying it to taxes. I need the name it's called when it's not applied to tax credit. I need to know what type of credit is it before it becomes a tax credit. You follow me?
I follow you.
Because it has value. How do we know it has value? Because it is dollar for dollar. It can offset any liability with the government dollar for dollar. So we know it has value. They can't tell us it don't have value. And right now I have 4.8 trillion of those values that I can document, and I've been having people work for the last year documenting my tax credits. And the thing about it, I'm giving most of it away
Hmm.
because I don't need that.
Mm-mm.
I was just showing, again, the system is designed to be manipulated. Now, I'm not manipulating it in a fraudulent way. I am actually establishing that there is a debt between me and some morons, and I'm offsetting the debt, which is what I am permitted to do by law. That is all that's going on, is I'm only following the law. Now I need to find out what else or how else that is labeled. Why do I need to find out how else that's labeled? Because
So you
once
could.
I do so, I can start writing instruments. I can become that private banker that I'm supposed to be. I can start issuing loans to people at 0% interest, and then taking their promissory notes and discharging it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only, like I said, I'm telling you where I am because everybody else wants to get over. Trying to get over, Superfly. Everybody wants to be Superfly. They want to get over on somebody.
Okay.
Okay,
So
I'm not trying to get over. I already got what I need. I'm actually trying to give it away.
you're doing this without the Federal Reserve Bank, otherwise, right?
Of course, why? Well, the Federal Reserve Bank comes in at the end. They don't need to be there at the beginning. I just need to
Okay.
know what else it's called. So that's my research. But here, this is what you need to understand. Ever since I started explaining to you when we did that last recording, I've not had any access to my computer. I'm just now reinstalling everything on my computer now because they
Mm.
keep hacking my system. And I
Okay.
kid you not, the amount of work I'm having to do right now, I cannot begin to tell you. It's not stressing. It's just irritating. And they are trying to get my attention. So they better leave me alone before I get their attention. Because I promise you, everybody in their grandma will be knowing what direction I'm headed in. And I do mean grandmamas. Because I don't mind everybody in their grandmama knowing what's really going on. Because that's all it's about. It's what's really going on. Not what could have gone on, but what's really going on. So that's where I am. I got to find out what else that's called. You feel me?
I feel you. You haven't. I thought you might have called and say you found it. You just
No,
said
no,
you
no,
got to
no,
look
no,
for
no.
it.
The problem is I just decided
Not
to
the
look at
computer.
that angle, and ever since I decided and I mentioned that to somebody, all of a sudden I can't get on my computer. Maybe.
Mm.
So that's what I've been dealing with.
So there's something between you. They're forgiving your debt, and you are able to issue out securities. Is that what we're talking?
No,
You're
there's
issuing
something
securities?
between you forgiving the debts, valid debts, not just any debt. The debt has to be valid. You cannot just claim somebody owe you something. You have to be able to document that a debt actually existed, which is why we did the arbitration process, because they cannot deal with the arbitration process. The arbitration process is what kills them because they
Right.
have no control over the arbitration process. They cannot ignore it. They cannot deny it.
Are we forgiving a debt when we do the 1099-C on that debt?
Of
Are we
course, you're
forgiving
forgiving the debt.
it? Say that again.
Of course, you're forgiving the debt.
Okay, so that's what our 1099-C is doing.
That's exactly what the 1099-C, but remember, the 1099-C does not go by itself. An A must attach.
Are you A with the box 5 check or not check?
No, see, I've chosen not to check box 5.
Okay, that's an acquisition. Okay.
Okay, I've chosen not to check box 5. But what let's see if I can say this in English, because sometimes my Spanish, it's a little bit hard for people to understand. The fact of the matter is, that form that they give you, you don't have to fill it out exactly the way they fill it out. You just need to fill it out. You heard me?
Yeah, well, I think, what do you mean a 1099A when you say form? Are you talking about 1099A or 1099C?
Remember, 1099A is just information. It's an informant. You're just informing them of this actual incident.
But but if you have the tax credit and you're informing the IRS on it, wouldn't
No,
it
no, no.
also?
Let's step away from the tax part of it. Let's do the credit part of it.
Okay, so if the credit exists, someone took it out of your estate.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
The way that I did it is I created, well, we already had a contract with government. So I created a counter offer because they keep changing the script. They keep changing the contract. So before they could change it again, I accepted their offer and I counter offered them. And when I
Okay.
counter offered them, they had 3 days to bow out of the agreement. They chose not to bow out of the agreement. And at that point, they were bound by the agreement. Once they go into default, which is 10 days, if they don't provide the information being requested in 10 days, and they are capable of providing it in 10 days, they send out mail free of charge. They don't pay a dime for mail. So they can send it out overnight with no problem. So giving them 10 days is not too little time. So by giving them 10 days to respond and they choose not to respond, then they go into default. After they go into default, we send them a notice. You're in default. Hey, but just before you go into final default, you got an opportunity to cure. All you got to do is prove that you responded within 3 days, and this all goes away. But if you can't prove you responded within 3 days to opt out of the agreement, then you need to prove that you provided the information being requested within 10 business days, or excuse me, calendar days. Now, if you can't do that, then you're aged out. And we're going to go to
Now,
arbitration. And the arbitrator's only going to be given one duty, and that's to determine whether or not you're in default. And once you're
now,
in default, you're going to owe. And so then I simply forgive them of the debt.
the default we're talking about, if we talking about a notary protest?
No, God, no. God, no. You don't need to do a notary protest to put someone in default. They don't do it with you. All
Oh
you
yeah.
got to do is fail to respond and fail to do what you are required to do under contract, and you're in default. And so we simply default them. They have an opportunity to prove they're not in default when they go to arbitration. The arbitrator only has one job, and that's to determine whether or not there is a default. And they
Oh,
have to provide proof that there isn't a default, and they can't. Because you know the one thing about government we realize, and they're going to catch on soon, but they haven't caught on in more than 5 years. The one thing about them is they do not respond to us. But the
no.
law says they're required to.
Okay, so how are you giving them a certificate of default, or
Oh,
what are we
yeah,
doing?
God, no. Why we need to do all of that? We just send them a notice of default. We give them an opportunity to cure. We do the straight administrative process. We don't do all that fancy stuff.
Are we signing in a special way?
No, God, no. This ain't got nothing to do with all this. Is a basic contract between parties. Ain't no special signatures, ain't no bowing and cursing, and I gotta curtsy before I walk into the room. I apologize. Ain't none of that stuff. We just send them the simple notice. It is a simple notice. Hey, you were supposed to respond. You didn't. Hey, oh, that's okay, boo. I understand. I'm gonna give you 3 calendar days from today's date to provide proof that you responded. And if you can't provide proof, don't worry about it. I got you, boo. You need to provide that information I requested. Then they don't provide it. They're in default. It really is that simple. No special letters, no special anything. And the way the contract is written, the conditional acceptance contract or the notice of change in terms of agreement, that's what a conditional acceptance is. It's a notice of change in terms of agreement. The
Right.
same thing they send you all the time through emails. We're changing our terms and our policies, and this is to update you. Well, we do the same thing. We just do it by mail. I've been doing mine with a lot of companies by email. Then after they default, because the arbitrator makes a determination against them. Once the arbitrator makes a determination, that's it. There's nothing they can say or do.
And you do it by fax.
We can do it by fax. We can do it by email.
Okay.
As long as they accept notices by fax or email, and we're not talking about proof of certificate of service or anything like that, because this is not a certificate of service issue.
Is what the fuck they're telling you.
Huh?
I'm sorry. I hit a button. I was cleaning my
That's okay.
computer.
This is not a lawsuit.
Okay.
We don't have to service or process them.
This is administrative process, but I always thought the
Exactly.
administrative process required notaries.
No, God, no. God, no. They do the companies do the administrative process on you every single time. When you are late on a bill, do they not send you a letter saying, hey, you're 30 days past due?
30, yeah, they give you 3 notices. I
Yes.
believe they have to
The first
give you
one
at
is
least
a
3
notice
notices.
of fault. You're past due. You need to pay. So the need to pay is the opportunity to cure. So that's a notice of fault, opportunity to cure. You don't cure that, then they give you a notice of default. Sir, you need to pay this. You're in default and you're subject to losing your property. And the
So
final,
what is it? The first one is a notice of default, isn't it?
no,
Or just
it
notice
isn't.
of fault?
It is a notice of fault,
Fault.
opportunity to cure, because they give you an opportunity to bring everything current. You see, but they go one step further. They send you another notice of fault. Why? Why do they do this? Why is it that they wait 6 months before you go into default? Because by law, they can't get the credit for the debt until you are 180 days default. That's why they wait 6 months. They don't have to wait 6 months. All they have to do is document that the debt is uncollectible, that there is not a likelihood that they're going to get paid. And once they document that, they can receive the credit immediately without having to write to anybody, without having to beg anybody for anything. The credit is
So
automatic.
is that when they file their 1099-C?
That's when they do their paperwork. And they don't have to. By law, you have to send them a copy, but they don't have to send you nothing.
Okay. What was I gonna say?
I have no idea.
I don't either. What you were
So we're
going on?
talking about defaults and sending them notices and the administrative process.
Okay, because we're talking about the original creditor or the original
No, we're
contractor.
not talking about an original creditor. We're talking about
No, the
anyone who
contract.
owes you a debt. The original creditor, when it comes to a mortgage, the promissory note was the security, and people are not recognizing that. And since the
Okay.
promissory note was the security, paying
You
for the mortgage, they
you
were
are
supposed to send
asking.
it to the Federal Reserve, and they did not. So now you paid, and they're saying you didn't pay, that you owe them. So since you paid, well, give me back my money.
Oh, I get it. I get it. You
Okay,
gave
but
them
because
something,
you won't give me back my money,
and you
uh-uh.
said give it back, and you don't need witnesses. You don't need nothing. That was a part of the contract.
Thank you. And we can
Oh my
prove
God.
that the promissory note was a security because we have the congressional intent. They made the promissory note legal tender in the United States. I didn't. So as long as that promissory note is legal tender, they have to give the satisfaction of mortgage. And they are not doing that.
How can this apply to a oh gosh property taxes? How
Same thing, you don't owe property taxes. That is your primary residence. You don't pay on your primary residence. Your right to property is not taxable. You
and
don't
where is
get
that
be
written at?
taxed on your
Is
right
that
to property.
Is that a congressional, also in a congressional report?
No, that is the Constitution's prohibition against government. They cannot penalize you on your right. You have the right to property. So this is the way it works. You have the right to at least one house. That's called your homestead. You don't pay taxes on your homestead. That's why they have the tax exempt form for homes. It's called the
Okay.
usage exempt form. Yeah,
If you
they made it administratively necessary, but it is not necessary.
So you're saying that if you didn't file the right of all your at home exemption, because I thought the promissory note was wavering it, the mortgage waivers that, because they give you got a power to sell in the mortgage. I thought you was wavering that homestead.
No, you don't waiver. You don't waive your homestead. That promise to sell or right to sell the property. That's between you and the bank. That ain't got nothing to do with the county. The county is taxing you on your property because they're charging you a usage tax. That's why it's called a usage tax exemption. You cannot be taxed on your primary residence, but you can be taxed on an extra property. Well, what the county is doing is they're assuming because you are allowing it to be called real estate, because you are allowing it to be called real estate, you can be taxed on it because real estate is commercial property. Commercial, it means you're engaged in commerce, which means they can regulate it. Congress has the right to regulate commerce. That's why you have to file the usage exemption form. But getting back to the point that I was bringing to your attention earlier, the fact that you have the congressional record showing that the original mortgage was a security.
Right.
Everybody should be going into court documenting, I tendered a security. The law only requires that I tender payment according to the agreement. The agreement was that I tender payment. Congress has said that that promissory note is a security. And it is a government obligation because they are the ones who said it was a government obligation and who said it was a security. And they said that it's supposed to be tendered to one of the member banks. That's 12 USC 411 and 412 and 418. That's what those sections are talking about. I tendered it to the Federal Reserve. They're supposed to give it to the Federal Reserve Bank because I gave it to one of their agents, which is one of these little minor banks.
And the member banks, yes, the member banks.
And they did not do their job. Not my fault.
Who's in the banks are not giving it to the Treasury Federal Reserve banks? Are
Well,
you saying?
we can't prove that, so guess what we do? We assume it.
Okay. And
Why? Because the congressional record says they're supposed to be giving it to the Federal Reserve, who may give it to the Treasury, but we don't care whether they gave it to the Federal Reserve or to the Treasury. We gave them a security that had value, and it had face value.
oh my God. And they get 90% above it if they do deposit in,
Oh
but
no,
that's
but
their
if it's a
problem.
government obligation, which it is, if it's a direct obligation of the government, which means your primary residence, under that act, it's 100%. But even if they got 90%, you put 10% down when you got the mortgage in the first place. That house is paid for.
Correct.
Now, what I'm doing for you is I'm recording this because what you and
I didn't get
everybody
my
else,
last. I'm still waiting for my last recording with you, but that's
I
okay.
sent that to you twice, knucklehead.
I didn't see it. Let me check. I've been
That
checking
is
my
not my
email.
fault. I sent it to you the very same day you claimed you didn't get it the first time. I even
Uh,
asked you while we were on the phone. I said, what's your email address? You gave it to me and I sent it there again. Don't
okay.
tell me I ain't did what I done.
So
I
just
done
like,
told you that the
hold
first
on,
time,
hold
but
on.
I tell you I did something.
Hold on. Just like they've been messing with your computer, maybe
No,
they're messing with your email that comes to me
whatever.
because I don't get half the stuff.
Any old excuse will do.
No, Facebook won't let. Every time I pull up a Facebook, they send me, are you a robot? Are you, they keep making me sign in. Some about
That's because you're using
this
Thor.
computer is
That's
on
because
a,
you're
it's
using
on
Thor.
YouTube. This and I'm on YouTube tour. I'll be using my Firefox.
Well, Firefox has
Actually, Tor allows me to get in, or
no. Here's the
what's that
problem
other
with
one?
Firefox. This is
Epic,
what you're
Epic,
going to run into.
Epic.
Firefox has a VPN that's part of Firefox. Okay, that's why you get Are You a Robot? So because Firefox uses the VPN, that's why you get that. And if you have an ad blocker, which Firefox comes with an ad blocker,
I
you
got it.
get that. So that's why you're getting the Are You a Robot?
Yeah, because
What you
every
have to
time I
do
even
is
go to a YouTube just to listen to one,
no.
I have to sign in under
Here's,
Google,
here's what you
Google
have to
Mail.
do. Here's what you have to do. You have to give you have to give that website access. So in other words, you have to stop blocking the website. And you do it on the back end. It's one of those sites you allow. Now what I would suggest, because you're right, YouTube will not let you watch certain videos unless you're signed in.
Well, this won't let me. They won't let me watch any video now unless I sign in.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's because they like you.
Yeah. Just like the IRS, I cannot create an estate or trust or business with the IRS. They kick me out of the site. IRS.gov. They kick me out to to another site. These folks got me labeled. That's what I'm saying. You giving me something I don't need. That's why I was using Scribe because they haven't done. I mean Skype. That's why I was hoping you could download the recording on
Oh,
Skype.
no. Skype has a limit as to the size of the file.
Exactly, I know that. I know that. Well, like I said, that was the email, or the email is the only way to really go with
Well, see, the thing
recordings.
about it, that's why I use Google, because even with Google, it stores it on their website.
Mm.
Because
I
Google
wish
has
you
that
could put it.
information.
I wish you could put it on one of your websites, and just send me the link where I could just go there and download it.
Yeah, I'm not there yet because they keep messing with the computer. I know how to do that. I'm just not there yet. So we are going to be creating that type of portal where we create a link and people can actually download things such as conversations that I'm having right now. I
Yeah,
don't
like
have the
Patrick Divines,
capabilities of
like
that.
Patrick.
What
Yeah,
will
like Patrick.
happen is, all I can tell you is you're going to have to be a little patient with the old man because there's a lot going on. And it
I understand, and I have been patient. I'm not really worried about it because we talked about it. It's lingering in my brain. But you just lit up something. I mean, I understand the securities. I go. Everything is a security. We have to endorse it properly, and it becomes a security. It comes to us as an
No, we
obligation.
don't have to endorse it properly. The endorsement is paid to the order of the United States of America without recourse. The
Oh,
endorsement is
okay.
paid to the order.
It's not what you put on the back that works.
That's,
That has to be.
because that's an authorization. The endorsement is on the face of the instrument normally. That's
Oh,
the paid to the order of. That's the order. So if you go and you look at it's called the single family banking, or no, single family home loan guarantee.
yeah.
It's Title 7, 1901.508. When you look at Title 7 CFR 1901.508, this is what you're going to find. It says, and the holder of the note shall endorse it, paid to the order of the United States of America without recourse. So they tell you how to endorse it.
Without recourse. So, right.
Yeah, it's right there, and well, no, I'm not connected to Skype. Like I said, I haven't hooked up everything, and I'm getting ready to hook that stuff up now.
And this is the endorsement. Where you said I could find this at?
It's under 7 CFR 1901.508.
7 CFR
1901.508.
1901.508. Okay,
You
thank
want to
you.
go down to the two I's, the lowercase I's, I, which is just number 2. but lowercase i's, and you'll
Okay.
see exactly what people are supposed to do with all government mortgages. Why? Because they're government obligations. You were not supposed to be paying for anything. That's why they were to take the note, endorse it properly, and get paid by a treasury check. I got that law because I told people I remembered Ronald Reagan talking about that. That's exactly what the government was going to do. And I remember that all the way back in 1982, 1983, listening to the news. And I told people, I said, I know for a fact I remembered him saying this, and they found that code for me.
Hmm. Beautiful. I got a question. I need you to write this down. MI 2766, and that form we're supposed to do for every real estate transaction. Would you consider that a usage exemption form? Because it's got a whole list of exemptions.
Well, see, this one says property transfer affidavit. So this is
I know, but go down into it and you see the exemptions listed.
okay. Give me
So would this be?
hold on, youngster. I see the exemption. Certain type of transfers are exempt from uncapping. So, in other words, yes, I'm going to download this form because it can be used for other benefits. But what I want to do is I want you, before you deal with this particular Michigan form that goes with the Department of the Treasury, what I want you to do is look up the Michigan form for usage tax exemption.
Usage tax exemption, because this goes to
Yes, but this
people
is,
who
okay,
estimate our taxes.
I'm just looking at the document from the very beginning, and I'm one who tells you don't look at the words, look at the purpose of the instrument.
The
So, of
content
course,
of
I
it.
don't look at property transfer. I look at the fact that this is a property affidavit. So I would literally be changing this form. So let's do Michigan usage tax exemption. Doesn't matter if it's what the property is. The usage tax exemption form is 3372.
3372.
And see, they try to throw people off by talking about sales tax, but it says and use tax. Okay? And you'll see at the very top it says one-time purchase. Okay? Literally.
This is in Michigan, MI.
This is Michigan. I did it for Michigan. So 3372.
3372.
Yes, it's called, and this is the Department of the Treasury. The same department. That's why I did that, because I wanted to make sure. And basis for exemption claim. Look, it says for lease, for resale at retail, blah, 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 agricultural products, church. This one has not a ton of exemptions, but it does have exemptions. And you notice here we have the University of Iowa. They put that as a indicator, but this is a one-page form.
And this is going to what? The Secretary of Treasury or the Treasury Department?
Whoever handles the taxes in your state.
Oh, okay. Well, we got it.
They're on the second page.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think. If you read the top of that form, it tells us who we have to send it to. And I don't know why I can't remember the name right now. But it's required. It is a requirement, and they're not following this in at the place.
Well,
Tax assessor, the assessor's office, the
yeah,
assessor's office.
and that's exactly what we did in this county. Is I sent mine to the assessor's office, and they told, oh no, that has to go to the tax board, and then they have to. I said no problem, and I gave it to both of them. I ain't got time for y'all. Is what I
Yeah,
told.
but I know, but the tax board, all it does is compare uh the the neighborhood. You know where they're assessing the
Yeah,
neighborhood, like, and that is not what you're saying. You're saying lawfully you're not required to pay taxes, period. They're
Yes,
going to tell you, was it appraised
in
improperly?
California, you have to send it to the tax board. Okay?
Well, here is they're just saying, oh, it's been appraised properly, and that's it.
No, 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 no. No, it's and I get what you're saying, and it's not the appraisal of my property that's the issue. I'm not questioning that. I'm questioning whether or not I am liable for the tax. So please send me any type of documentation that provides proof that I am liable for paying taxes on my primary home. Go ahead. I will by all means pay that tax the moment you can show me the law that violates the right to property. That's what I'd be responding back to him about. Now look,
Okay.
I can't stay on. I definitely just wanted to share the information I did with you, but I can't stay on because I got to get out here to my solar panel, and then I got to finish with this computer.
And I have to call you, talking to you, because I'm tired of screwing me up to the satellite people where you getting your internet with. So we're gonna need to talk on that.
Oh, Skylink. I mean, excuse me, Starlink. Starlink. Elon Musk.
Okay, Starlink. Okay.
Yeah, just type in Elon Musk satellite when you do a Google search, and it'll automatically send you to Starlink.com.
Starlink.com. No problem. All right, thanks for the info. And you really opened up my eyes by giving them a security. How I prove it's a security. It's a congressional record. So
I didn't say nothing other than that. I told you that's all I was doing was calling to give that information because I haven't given that information to no one else.
I know, but I'm just putting it in my head. I'm letting you know what I'm seeing in my mind.
I know. That's why I repeated it 3 times during the conversation. That's why I'm going to send you a copy of the call.
Okay. Again.
I think that's why, because that's why I started recording the call before you even said your first words, because I knew what I was going to be giving you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right?
Oh, okay. Just send it. I'll go into my email right now. Just go ahead and send it.
All right. I will do.